All right, Shalom. I want to give all praise to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Kakadash, the one that's the apostle, the elders, the great millstone. Peace and salutations to you sincere brothers out there pushing across the four corners of the earth. Shalom to you. May the Lord bless you with the Holy Spirit. We continue to push the word so we can finally get out of here. Real quick, I just want to touch on, man, because it's summertime and Jake is out and about, and you still got a lot of wickedness amongst the so-called Black, Native American, and Latino communities. I'm here in St. Louis. I'm sure any major city you can look up the map like this. This one is a particular homicide map, and you could just see all of the wickedness, man. And all of these places, as much as we condemn Esau because he is the devil that the Bible speaks of, Esau is the enemy. At the same time, man, on the other end of the spectrum, we got to condemn our own people too, or we got to judge and talk about our own people, because one of the things that they like to say when they come up to the camp is, you can't judge me. Who do you to judge? Only God can judge. But if you just look at what's going on in our communities, because the majority of these places, these red dots, is so-called is places where Jake lives at. You got the south side of St. Louis, the north side of St. Louis. Everybody knows about the north side. You got North County. That's another frequent place for Jake. And then I look at West County. This is where Esau lives at. Look at Southwest County. So as much as we know Esau is responsible for a lot of deaths, and this probably more than it's on this map, but everybody is talking about their woke, their consciousness, their deep, and all this stuff. Well, if you're woke, you understand that as a people, we have to have an identity. Black, that's not sufficient as an identity. Going back to the scriptures, you have to have a nationality, know who you are. And along with that, you have to have a code of conduct in which, you and your people agree to carry yourselves a certain way and to do certain things. And the code of conduct that we were given way back in the Bible in Deuteronomy, the Black, Native American, Latino people, is the scriptures, or the law, statutes, commandments of the Bible. Because the word Bible just means biblios, which means collection of the books. Collection of books by prophets. Okay, it doesn't. It's not going to give a. It's only for this particular area. Thought it might have been a national thing or something. But I'm sure if you went to Chicago, you see the same thing. You went to Indianapolis, you probably see the same thing. Louisville, Memphis, all these other places, Little Rock. You probably see all the same stuff. Springfield, Columbia, Kansas City. Probably see all the same things that you see here. But I don't know. It's a particularly heavy demon. Excuse me. It's a particularly heavy demon here that has these Negroes just completely blind, completely asleep. Willing to kill. When going back to our people, we had brotherly love. We had love for ourselves. We had love for our women, our children. Our women had love for themselves. They had love for us as men, and they had love for the family as well. And now, because of the devil, because everything goes back to him, this is society controlled, maintained, and run by him. Now, a lot of our people are stuck in these different places, and they're killing up each other because they're doing shit. Basically, like they say, it's out of pocket. They're doing shit according to their own free will and their own accord, and not according to the will of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. And that's what's causing a lot of problems. Just dealing with Jake out in the world. You have to every time you deal with somebody new, Israelite, like this, the scriptures tell you to let's get there. There you go. Ecclesiasticus 6 and 7, aka Sirach 6 and 7. Sirach. If thou would get us a friend, matter of fact, let's start at 6. Be in peace with many, nevertheless have but one counsel of 1,000. That's right. You're supposed to have one counselor, and brothers in the truth, our particular counselors are each other, or the apostles, the elders, or whoever the elder is in your camp, the head brother in your camp. You're supposed to heed to wise counsel, and like it says, man, everybody can't be your counselor. Everybody can't give you guidance and tell you things. You're supposed to go to men of understanding, which is the men who know the Bible. Verse 7, if thou wouldst get a friend, prove him first and be not hasty to credit him. Yeah, and that's something that we're kind of dealing with now in the camp, because you got a lot of people who walk up who we see on a frequent, but you kind of have to with Jake, because Jake is so beat down. You have to really watch our own people closely, because they'll turn on you if you haven't kind of established on one accord. The scriptures say what? Can two walk together, at least ye be agreed? Which the answer to that is no. You can't walk together with somebody unless you two on the same accord. Unless you've kind of proven each other, you've kind of established some consistency. And that's why a lot of our relationships fail, because everybody wants to do things their own way. They want to do things according to how they feel or what they feel, versus what wise men have already written for us to do. And they don't want to heed to that. That's why 2/3 of Israel is going to be destroyed. Because if this was to continue on, man, especially with the young kids, the youth coming on who have zero respect, they have zero zeal of the Bible or any biblical concepts. All of that stuff is now gone, and the youth, they're totally lawless, careless, and they completely lack for respect for one another, for themselves, and for anybody else. So the Lord is going to have to come and destroy a lot of Israelites, as he did before. That's why, as men of the Lord, you're supposed to go out and teach out on the highways and byways. Go to the highways and byways and bid men to the marriage. Or Proverbs 1 and 20, wisdom crieth without, she uttereth her voice in the streets. She crieth in the chief place of concourse, in the openings of the gates. In the city she uttereth her words, saying, how long, ye simple ones, will ye love simplicity? Yeah, that's what we say. Trying to wake Jake up, trying to jog their memory, trying to call out to him. How long will you love simplicity? And the scorners delight in their scorning, and fools hate knowledge. Because that's a part of it too. Of course, when you bring the scriptures out, that demon is going to jump out and try to attack you. And you have a lot of foolish people who hate knowledge. Turn you at my reproof. Behold, I will pour out my spirit unto you. I will make known my words unto you. That's right. The Lord is going to make his words known through his men, through the men that he called, and through the men he selected who come with the words. And even Esau knows, because you got a lot of people who say, well, look, the law was done away with. The law is no longer remaining. You got Esau who actually knows, look, the law, all 613 commandments. Then Galatians 4:21, this looks like a different version, but tell me, you who want to be under the law, are you not aware of what the law says? So, like I say, man, it's 248 positive commandments, 365, which is it's not negative, but these are strict commandments. So you can't see it as positive and negative things. These are strict commandments. There are certain promises that the Lord made that he's going to keep with us, that he cannot break. And there are certain things that he said he would do if you disobeyed him, but he does give you slack on it. Just to read a few, do not have no power but the Most High Yahweh through his son Yahweh Shai. Do not make images of other false gods to be worshipped. Do not take on the character of the false gods. Do not bow down to any false gods. Do not worship, serve, or obey or follow the ways of the false gods, which people love to do that in this society. They follow Esau's law, or they don't follow his law, but they respect, they respect Esau's law over the laws of the Bible. If they get a ticket or something, they'll rush into court. They'll beg the judge for an extension and all that. But if we go out on the highways and byways, as you can see all over YouTube, people just walk by, they disrespect you, they scoff at you. They just want you completely off the streets and gone. But when it comes to doing things against Esau's laws for homosexuals, which the Bible condemns, for child molesters, which the Bible condemns, for people who worship false gods, Islam and all this other shit, which the Bible condemns, they don't make a move against them. Because the white man, so-called Esau, has conditioned them to be that way. And that's why scriptures also talk about in Jeremiah, it's going to tell you to go in the old paths, but I'm going to read up real quick. To whom shall I speak and give warning? This is Jeremiah 6:10, that they may hear. Behold, their ears uncircumcised, and they cannot hearken. Behold, the word of the Lord is unto them a reproach. They have no delight in it. Yeah, reproach, that's something they don't want. Therefore, I am full of the fury of the Lord. I am weary with holding in. I will pour it out upon the children abroad and upon the assembly of young men together. For even the husband with the wife shall be taken, the age with him that is full of days. And the houses shall be turned unto others with their fields and wives together. For I will stretch out my hand upon the inhabitants of the land, saith the Lord. For from the least of them even unto the greatest of them, every one is given to covetousness. And from the prophet even unto the priest, everyone dealeth falsely. That's right. So Israel had become completely, just like now, Israel had become completely wicked. And that's another concept that people don't want to understand. Everything we're living in now has happened before. And you have to be a dummy not to see that. You have people who ride around. You'll always see people with Greek characters on the license plates, right? Because they're part of some Greek fraternal order. But what do Greek fraternal orders have to do with today in America? You got buildings all downtown with the Roman pillars and the college. Just like you had the Coliseum, right now you have these huge stadiums for baseball, football, all this stuff, basketball, all these huge stadiums for people to pour in. And you got your modern day gladiators. I mean, if you sat there and compared this society to the ancient societies where Esau ruled, I mean, you could easily see 1,000 comparisons. Even as a kid, you see that. Even as a child, you see those comparisons. Even for the Super Bowl, when they give you a Super Bowl, it's in Roman characters. I believe the last one was L3, which is 53. So you have to be completely blind, deaf, and dumb to not see that this is just another incarnation of Esau's kingdom. And we're telling you, according to the scriptures, this is his final kingdom. You need to wake up, come back to your heritage, because Esau right now, he's fully in his heritage. He's fully in it. He's embracing it. These Masons, these guys fully embrace being Esau, being joined unto death. That's why one of Esau's greatest symbol is what? The skull. Esau, he has what? Skull and bones. You got the Terminator. You got a big ass skull on the front of him. It's the skull, because Esau is about death. That's just the spirit. And so, that's another part of being in the truth too, being able to read people's spirit and see, the kind of person they are, not just at the camp, but in your day-to-day life. But going back to the law, there's 613 laws. I mean, we could just simplify it. One of these laws, which is interesting, is what? Appoint a king from Israel. So a king was set up, and then the king would what? He would do what? He would judge the people. They would take high matters straight to the king, and the king would put out a judgment. One of the famous judgments from the Bible, of course, being Solomon dealing with the two women who said the child was both theirs, and then he could figure out whose the child really was. And then another interesting, wipe out the memory of Amalek. And who has the Bible now? The Amalekites, the so-called the fake Jews in Israel, which, you know, Israel is on fire right now. Everybody wants a piece of Israel. The scriptures talk about when the chosen people go back to Israel, Israel would be at peace. Excuse me. Israel would be at peace. There would be no war once the chosen people went back. So hey, you can if you have eyes to see, you can clearly see that we need judgment in this earth. Because you got all kind of every one of these laws you look at, our people break, and that's why our communities look like this. Because you know, there's once again, you got the hood rules, which the hood rules, you know, our people pride themselves in following that. They'll follow the ways of the hood or the gang or whoever is in power. You know, the police roll up. They'll oh, how you doing, officer, or whatever. They'll have respect for authority. You know, even trying to kill each other. Once the police roll up, everybody's running. Everybody's trying to hide, get away from the police. But when it comes to the supreme authority, the one who put Esau up in power in the first place, the God of the Bible, our people have no respect. So once again, man, that's why the Lord is going to kill 2/3 of Israel, because they can't come back to who they really are. They're going to be stuck in Babylon, and a lot of our people who are going to take that chip, they're going to be destroyed. Millions of Israelites, they're going to take that chip and they're going to be destroyed. And you got people, once again, doing all this. A man will not have sexual relations with his mother, with his sister, with his son's daughter, his daughter-in-law, father's brother's wife, mother's sister, father's sister, son's daughter. You got people doing all this sick shit. Sexual relations with an animal. Lusting after somebody's wife. So, hey, you got our people following after the heathen. The scriptures say what? Do not set a stranger in the office of the king. I'm paraphrasing, but you know, that's that. Hey, man, if you go through every single law, statute, commandment, which you should do, calling yourself a priest or a prophet or a man of the Lord, you're supposed to be familiar with all the laws. Our people have broken every single one, and they continue to break them, and it's continue to be murder, confusion, chaos. That's why, jumping down, it said what? Were they ashamed when they had committed abomination? In verse 15. Nay, they were not at all ashamed, neither could they blush. Therefore they shall fall among them that fall. At the time that I shall visit them, they shall be cast down, saith the Lord. Thus saith the Lord, stand ye in the ways and see, and ask for the old paths, where is the good way, and walk therein, and ye shall find rest for your souls. But they said, we will not walk therein. And that's our people. Or maybe they do want to look back into history, but then, you know, they get that demon on them they're from Africa, when, you know, Africa, the people of Africa allowed us to go into slavery under the white man. And fourth, they received guns and wine. You know, they were called muskets. Muskets are guns. They received guns and wine, gunpowder, all these other, you know, little Western inventions. If we were really one and joined with those people, they would not have let us take their own people, or take us, even if we were a different tribe, across the earth, build up an empire and rule over. You know what I'm saying? You wouldn't let your enemy capture somebody who's strong and then use that person to build themselves up so they could come back and they could destroy you, because Esau went into Africa even later on, and he was fucking those Hamites up too, right? The Elamites, the Ishmaelites. At some point, he came into your land and he fucked you up as well. And so, yeah, if we were their people, they would not have done that. And that's something our people don't want to admit. They don't want to go backwards in history. They don't want to do the research. You know, in the minute of the Lord, we've done the research. We've done the groundwork. We've done all the grunt work, gone through all the paperwork, the old articles, and still our people don't want to heed it. That's why the scriptures say, what? Make your calling and election short. Work out your own salvation. Our people don't want to work out salvation. They want to go into church every Sunday, which Sunday, the church gets that from Catholicism. They try to establish that as the Sabbath. We know the Sabbath is based on the new moon. That's another thing debunked. So, hey, man, if you say you believe something, you're supposed to know the ins and the outs of it, how it works, what to do with it. I'm going to just read a couple more scriptures, man, because Israel, man, they have a large punishment coming along with the damn devil. Mostly Israel, though. This is Judges 2:11. And the children of Israel did evil in the sight of the Lord and served Balaam. And they forsook the Lord God of their fathers, which brought them out of the land of Egypt, and followed other gods of the people that were round about them, and bowed themselves unto them, and provoked the Lord to anger. And they forsook the Lord and served Baal and Ashtoreth. And the anger of the Lord was hot against Israel, and he delivered them into the hands of spoilers that spoiled them, and he sold them into the hands of the enemies round about, so that they could not any longer stand before their enemies. Whithersoever they went out, the hand of the Lord was against them for evil, as the Lord has said, and as the Lord has sworn unto them, and they were greatly distressed. Nevertheless, the Lord raised up judges, which delivered them out of the hand of those that spoiled them. And yet they would not hearken unto their judges, but they went a-whoring after other gods, and bowed themselves unto them. They turned quickly out of the way which their fathers walked in, obeying the commandments of the Lord, but they did not so. And when the Lord raised them judges, then the Lord was with the judge, and delivered them out of the hand of their enemies all the days of the judge. For it repented the Lord because of their groanings, by reason of them that oppressed them and vexed them. And when it came to pass that when the judge was dead, that they returned, so they went right back to doing wicked and evil, just like Israel has always done. That's why, once again, the Lord is going to kill 2/3 of Israel. These fucking niggas who don't want to listen. But when the judge is there appointed by the Lord, then you know, even so, then they kind of went with it. But even now, in these days, you set up judges. You got men all through the highways and hedges, right? Wisdom crying out in the streets. Our people, they don't even want to heed that. And when it came to pass, that the judge was dead, that they returned and corrupted themselves more than their fathers, in following other gods to serve them and to bow down unto them. They ceased not from their own doings, nor from their stubborn way. And the anger of the Lord was hot against Israel, and he said, because that this people have transgressed my covenant, which I commanded their fathers, and have not hearkened unto my voice, I also will not henceforth drive out any from them before them of the nations which Joshua left when he died, that through them I may prove Israel whether they will keep the way of the Lord to walk therein as their fathers did keep it or not. Therefore the Lord left those nations without driving them out hastily, neither delivered he them into the hand of Joshua. So basically, man, instead of the Lord didn't usually he'll drive away these other nations, he'll give us victory over them. This time he said, look, I'm not gonna do that. And that's something that the Lord kept having to do, and eventually, Israel built up against that punishment. And so now, here we are in America, 2018. Israel is out of fucking control once again. They're going against Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, and they got it coming. They got it coming. And with that, man, all praise to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. If you can't see that we don't need judges and men of the Lord to set up to tell the people, what the Lord commanded them to do, and to guide our people, you're a reprobate. The Bible's not for you. If you're an Israelite, you're gonna be destroyed, man. And that's all it is to it. It's no argument. We're past that point. We've done, debates. We've done the back and forth. All praise to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. Shalom to the hopeful elect. Shalom.